Welcome back, Truck Sim fans. Today we're going to be looking at an answer of a question which was laid down by SCS Software. What's the biggest cargo that you've taken through the Thompson Falls Hills route, this challenging route that they've added into the Montana DLC? Well, here's my truck. It's a nice new Western Star 57X, and I've got on the back there a triple-bogey trailer. On it sits a Volvo A25G articulated tipper, and I'm going to try and take that across this route. By now, most of you will have found out where it is. I know SCS don't want spoilers to be given, but here we go. How hard can it be? Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that would make it harder: no lights. Let's put the main beam on. But another thing that would also make it a lot easier is to change the gearbox. And I will do that now. This is how you change it from whatever you're using, automatic in this particular case, into a sequential. Now the sequential gearbox is important because you are then controlling the gear change, not the truck. And in some of these situations, the truck can start hunting around for gears. You lose traction, you lose progress, and you end up in a situation perhaps critical on the edge of a drop to one side where you would not want to be fiddling around trying to coax the truck forward. So I'm going to be using all the revs and in the gears that I select. Firstly, this 57X is really nice truck. The engine I've got in here is a 600. The gearbox is the OHE1, the 12 speed, slightly lower ratioed than the one which goes with the highway setup. Not coping too badly so far. I've also got Goodyear tyres on it, which are providing a bit more grip. You can hear the engine straining away. That's good though. This 600 horsepower Detroit diesel is a fine engine to be going with. Now here we start to get to the really interesting bits and pieces. But you know what? Even though this is a timed job, I'm going to change the daylight. Here's how you do it. G_set_time, and then pick a number. That number is the hours of the preferred time that you want. And this is 6 o'clock in the morning. There you go. The customer expects delivery soon. Right, I'm already late. I'm going to be hours late by the time I get there. This should have been there at 2 in the morning. Anyway, better for you lot to see what's going on rather than me to keep a few dollars in the bank, eh? So you can now see more of the trail. Early morning, nice shadows and lighting on it. SCS build this as a challenging trail. If you want to try it, there'll be people out there who can tell you where it's at if you can't guess already from where I'm driven from on my video. But there are other challenging routes on modified maps around out there. One of them is the map mod called Mountain Map, and that's a map mod for ATS, and it includes some extremely challenging roads. If you think this is tight, then you haven't seen anything yet. The key about getting around these corners is to use all the available road. Sometimes you even have to hang a wheel off the edge. But this time, it's not too difficult. Just get close. There's that cone at the beginning of the shored up section of cliffside there. And the load fits through quite nicely. This trailer, so the articulated tipper truck here is actually hanging off the edge slightly, and it still makes it through easy. We haven't scratched a load yet, we haven't damaged anything yet. We're just taking it nice and steady around these corners. Relatively flat, a few bits of off camber, but that's good. So we're going to get to our first slightly awkward bit. It's a bridge. It's not a very narrow bridge, but I'm going to take it wide, slow down and line up the cargo by manoeuvring the truck. The truck is still in the same gear. It actually pulls forward quite nicely. I think this is 5th or so. I'll drop it down to 3rd just to get over there. Slowly, then up to 4th. Mind we don't hit that parked scrap car, whatever it is. Back in the cab now. As you can see in the mirrors, it looks a lot longer than it drives, this triple-bogey trailer. The only thing I don't like doing with these is reversing them. Can never quite manage that one, however, hopefully we'll not have to do that on this trip. The next challenging thing on this route is there is a bridge ahead with some of the beams broken. When we go over it, I'm not going to show from the outside, but when we go over it you might notice the front driver's side stay up and the front passenger side dip. There it goes, slightly. You can't avoid that, it's just one of those things where the wheels will find some of the small irregularities in the surface. Now, a chicane through Rocky Valley, all you've got to do is make sure you take the curves nice and wide. Remember, it's the cargo that needs to stay in the middle of the road, not necessarily the truck. The truck can go off quite a bit to the side of this. There are some rocks and things hidden, but you should be able to get a decent enough view. Oh, that's the first bit of trailer damage that I picked up, 1%. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe the rear bogie just clipped something. Let's have a look from the outside again. As you can see, that point about taking the corners wide, look how far across the truck is compared to the rear set of wheels on the actual trailer. The final bit just follows it around. I'm going to go right off the edge of the track here to make sure that the corner of the dump truck there doesn't get anywhere near the edge. Now this is just a bit of practice. There is actually a lot of room on this corner. There are one or two corners coming up where there isn't. Here's the next thing. It's a bridge that's just a couple of beams on each side. I'm going to put the truck down the middle. Now you can do this, even though I've not got the diff lockers on, you can do that as long as you've got traction on one set. That was to get the load, the wheels on the trailer, centered over those beams. Slight stop there, just to make sure I'm getting the angle right after turning back on the other direction. Now we're going to get to this next point. Now this is probably the trickiest corner, or at least it seems that way, on this entire route. So we'll take the outside view and I'll show you what I mean about using all the available space. This still isn't a route where you actually really do have to hang your wheel over the edge, but riding on the rocks right on the very edge of the cliff face there, just so that the trailer and importantly the dump truck don't get anywhere near the rock face. As you can see there's quite a lot of spare space. The rear wheels are probably just brushing that scree, but apart from that there's nothing really going on. You can see the trailer rocking a little bit as it goes over the slightly bumpy inner side of that curve. That's it. That's the tough stuff over with on this route. There's a few tight bends coming up, but now it's the downhill side, so it's just about keeping your line and making sure that the truck is still moving forward. The other advantage of keeping the sequential gearbox option is that you can stick it in 6th, 8th, whatever, and let the engine do the braking. You can just have it roll forward against the gears and you retain control, more concentration on steering and position rather than faffing around with gears. And it doesn't run away with itself downhill like the automatic option would do. There we can start to see our destination in the distance there. That's the town where I'm going to be delivering this. And as you can see from the sat-nav, I've already driven this route more than once actually, a couple of times, with different cargoes and different trailers. Give it a go yourself. I can honestly say that you'll have no trouble with a 45 or a 48 foot long box trailer or any of the shorter flatbed loads. No idea what that was. I was in the middle of the road all the way down there. suppose it's fortunate that the Chinook helicopter load isn't allowed to go up here. You'll get into trouble from your escort drivers if you veer off the authorised route. But in the town I'm approaching, Thompson Falls, you can pick up one of those if you want to. The special cargo routes start in this little town. One of the options is the Chinook helicopter. Now we're on the flat level. The road beside us is one that people may have driven. There's a viewpoint a bit further up, or is there? I can't remember. There's certainly a turnaround. Here we go, just a bit bumpy. The suspension's making a little bit of noise, that's all. That rocking, knocking noise. But this final turn puts us onto the bridge over the river into the town of Thompson Falls. There's the train ahead, going down its track. I actually have to go down and cross this to deliver this to the company I'm aiming for. But for now, I'm going to leave the truck here, give you a little view from the outside, and say thanks for watching.